central government amends the public procurement financial rules. Companies from the country sharing land border with India can bid only if registered with a competent authority. The amendment enables imposition of restrictions on such companies in the interest of national security. Finance Minister approves 8,767 crore rupees for 81 stalled housing projects. Also reviews the capital expenditure scheme of the central public sector undertakings. The capital expenditure plan to accelerate economy amid challenges created by COVID-19. Rajasthan High Court to give decision on the petition of 19 rebel MLAs today. Petition challenged the disqualification notice issued to them by the Speaker of the Rajasthan Assembly. Tensions mount between the US and China. Mike Pompeo takes a fresh aim at China, says securing US freedom from the Chinese Communist Party is mission of the time and America was perfectly positioned to lead it. China also orders US to shut consulate in the city of Chengdu. More than 8,17,000 cured from COVID-19 in the country so far, the recovery rate above 63%. Worldwide corona cases over 1 crore 56 lakh. The WHO says US, Brazil and India can deal with the pandemic. The WHO also rejects allegations of working in support of China. "93 people died due to floods in Assam so far. The water level in some rivers still above the danger mark, while the floods in Bihar affect more than 6 lakh population. The NDRF and the SDRF relief and rescue work going on. In sports news, England and West Indies will be fighting it out in the series decider at the Old Trafford in the third test starting today. England to decide whether to recall Jofra Archer for the decisive test. Hello and welcome. You're watching Doordarshan News with me, Nancy Kohli. Our top story: the government has amended the General Financial Rules 2017 to enable the imposition of restrictions on the bidders from the countries which share the land border with India. A statement released by the Union Finance Ministry said that the Department of Expenditure had, under the said rules, issued a detailed order on the public procurement to strengthen the defence and national security of India. Now, as per the order, any bidder from such countries will be eligible to bid in any procurement, whether of goods or services works, only if the bidder is registered with a competent authority. The restrictions on the public procurement from such countries can be imposed for reasons of national security and other factors directly or indirectly related to the country's defence. The new provisions will apply to all the new tenders. In respect of tenders already invited, if the first stage of evaluation of qualification has not been completed, the bidders who are not registered under the new order will be treated as not qualified. If this stage has been crossed, ordinarily the tenders will be cancelled and the process started de novo. The order will also apply to other forms of public procurement. Relaxation has been provided in certain limited cases, including for procurement of the medical supplies for the containment of the COVID-19 pandemic till 31st December this year. By a separate order, the countries to which the Government of India extends the line of credit or provide development assistance have been exempted from the requirement of the prior registration. And the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman reviewed the performance of special window for affordable and mid-income housing with the secretaries of the Ministries of Finance and the senior fund management team, focused on speedy efforts to complete construction of projects for which the last mile funding has been sanctioned. The government-backed Fund for Stressed Housing Projects has approved investments worth 8,767 crore rupees in 81 projects. In the review meeting with the Finance Minister, the fund managers informed that among the 81 projects, investments in 18 have received the final clearance. The approved fund will enable the completion of almost 60,000 homes across India. And the latest now, as far as the political ruckus in Rajasthan is concerned, the Rajasthan High Court will give its decision on the petition of sacked Deputy Chief Minister Sachin Pilot and 18 other rebel MLAs of the Congress on the disqualification notices issued to them by the Speaker of the Rajasthan Assembly. The court had completed hearing on the issue on Tuesday and reserved its decision on the petition till today. The Assembly Speaker had issued notices to these rebel MLAs on a petition for the disqualification filed by the Chief Whip Mahesh Joshi before him. The hearing on the special leave petition filed by the Speaker being deferred by Supreme Court till Monday, though it had refused to grant a stay on the High Court. We'll keep continuing the latest developments as far as the political crisis in Rajasthan is concerned. But moving on now, taking a look at the COVID-19 impact in India, and the fight against coronavirus is going on across the country. The recovery rate is continuously improving. The patients among COVID-19 recovered across India has crossed the 8 lakh mark, with the improved recovery rate at 63.45%. The cumulative figure of recovered cases now stands at 8,17,208. The active cases reported are 4,40,135, all under medical attention in the hospitals or home isolation. The case fertility rate in the country stands at 2.38%, and India has one of the lowest case fertility rates in the world. 30,601 patients have died so far. But the efforts to expand the testing laboratories network in the country have led to their numbers increasing every day. There are as many as 1,290 laboratories in the country, including 897 laboratories in the government sector and 393 private laboratories. Several people-centered measures taken as part of the test, trace and treat strategy have removed the impediments for COVID-19 testing. And the facilitation of widespread testing by states and union territories has spurred the number of samples tested every day. During the last 24 hours, 3,52,801 samples have been tested, pushing the cumulative number of tests to 1.5 crores. And in Bhopal, the 10-day lockdown will begin from tonight at 8 and will remain in force until 5 in the morning on the 4th of August. All the commercial establishments except special services will remain closed. The supply of vegetables and milk and essential services will remain open along with the industries. Medical services, government ration shops will also remain open during the period. Schools, coaching, gym, auditorium, hotels, restaurants, parks, swimming pools and shopping malls will remain closed in the city. There will also be a ban on any kind of function or gathering in Bhopal, and all the religious places will also be completely closed during the 10-day lockdown. The transport services will also be completely suspended during the lockdown. However, the movement outside the city will remain prohibited and e-passes will be required for any movement. All the state and the central government offices will function with necessary capacity. The government has given a relief to the industries by allowing economic activities to run this lockdown. The Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan has urged people to follow all the rules during the lockdown period. The guideline clearly states that strict action will be taken against those who do not follow the social distancing, do not wear masks or break the rules of the lockdown. And let's now move on, get you this inspiring story of an Ayurvedic doctor, Dr. Vinay, who had taken up the voluntary service to help the corona warriors and build their immunity. He's distributing the Ayurvedic kit to policemen and government employees from different departments. Dr. Vinay has earned appreciation from police department for his service, as police acknowledge the fact that their staff is taking all the precautions to stay safe from the virus by using the Ayurvedic kit that he's provided them.
Dr. Vinay Singarajpura, he is the doctor, he is a practitioner. He himself is a corona warrior, and he is going around helping several corona warriors, and he is carrying a magical kit in his hand. This is a kit he is handing over to people across the city, especially the policemen who are prone to catch the virus when they go out on duty. So let's find out from him what is this magic kit that he is giving to the policemen. Vinay, can you tell us what do you have in this kit?
We have two drugs here. I have basically chosen the two drugs. One is the mixture of amla and turmeric that works as nishamlaki, that is called as nishamlaki, which is said in Ayurveda. And another one drug, the name is Talisadi Churna, which is a very excellent drug for all respiratory ailments. These two drugs works as an immune booster as well as antiviral effect.
So what is their response when they see the Ayurvedic medicine giving to them? Are they following this strictly?
Definitely, we have started in the month of April. Say recently I did a drug study, that is the 3 months of this distribution of the drug study. They have consumed for 3 months. Encouragement is from the Prime Minister office, that is the Prime Minister of India. That is
ever since the Prime Minister gave this vision, you have taken up this call.
Yes, what the police personnel are doing, they are considered to be the first line warriors.
Yeah.
So it's my contribution to the warriors in terms of prevention.
Dr. Vinay himself a corona warrior and helping other warriors, and also he has a formula which the formula you said FIMS.
F stands for food, I stands for immune boosting, M stands for mask, compulsory mask food, very essential, and yes, FIMS, S stands for social distancing. Everywhere you stand, you have to maintain a social distancing.
FIMS, that is the formula that he has given, which he thinks will be a safety aspect to keep away from the virus and be safe. With cameraman Khadar, Aisha Khanam, DD India, Bangalore.
Moving on now, the World Health Organization has said that the US, Brazil and India, which are all suffering fast rises in the COVID cases, can still get on top of the pandemic. The WHO believes that these countries are powerful, able, democratic countries who have tremendous internal capacities to deal with the disease. And the WHO Emergencies Program Head Mike Ryan had said that during a Geneva briefing. And the World Health Organization chief has in fact also rejected as false an allegation by the US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, questioning his independence and that he owed his position to a deal with China. The Director General said that is in fact come under severe criticism, especially from the US President Donald Trump and Mike Pompeo, who have accused him of being pro-China. Responding to a question at a Geneva briefing about remarks by Pompeo questioning his independence, he said that the comments are untrue and unacceptable and without any foundation. Clarifying further, the WHO chief also added that the sole focus of the entire organization is on saving lives, and WHO will not be distracted by such comments. And let's now take a look at the updates on COVID-19 from across the world. The new coronavirus has claimed the lives of over 6.36 lakh people worldwide, while more than 1.56 crore people have contracted the infection so far. The US and Brazil remain the worst affected in the terms of COVID-19 infections and fatalities. The US has so far recorded over 41.69 lakh cases and over 1.47 lakh deaths, while Brazil has recorded over 22.89 lakh infections and over 84,000 deaths. And looking at the death toll worldwide, the US and Brazil are followed by the UK with over 45,500 fatalities, further followed by Mexico, Italy and France. US President Donald Trump on Thursday said that he would no longer be holding a large gathering in Florida in August to accept the Republican Party's nomination following a spike in the COVID-19 cases in the state. He said it's just not the right time. The event, initially slated to be held in Charlotte, North Carolina, had been moved to Jacksonville, Florida, after North Carolina's governor refused to guarantee Trump could hold a large event in the state. Florida currently has a total of more than 3,89,868 cases of COVID-19 with over 5,520 deaths. And Bolivia has suspended its presidential election for a second time, putting it off until October after the country suffered a spike in the COVID-19 infections. The poll was originally supposed to be held in May but had been rescheduled to 6 September after the country went into lockdown following the coronavirus outbreak. Salvador Romero, the head of the country's electoral court, said the decision to delay the elections again came after medical experts warned that COVID-19 infections would peak in Bolivia in late August or early September. The novel coronavirus has hit Bolivia hard, with the conservative interim president, Jeanine Áñez, and many of her cabinet testing positive, casting a shadow over the elections. The country in the last 24 hours recorded about 1,778 cases and 55 new deaths. Bolivia now has more than 64,000 total cases of the virus with more than 2,300 deaths. And in Spain, the regional restrictions across the country have tightened again to prevent the spread of COVID-19 clusters. The authorities in Totana in the southeast went back into lockdown and told residents to not leave or enter the city unless their trip was essential. People were advised to stay home and the capacity of open commercial premises was halved. The restriction imposed after 55 new positive cases registered recently. In Pamplona, where the city called off the San Fermin Bull Run festivities for the first time in 4 decades, the authorities will test more than 2,000 youngsters after more than 100 people tested positive in the Mendilori neighborhood. The affected area, along with other towns in Aragon, returned to some lockdown measures to prevent further spread. Over 3 lakh infections have been detected in Spain, while around 42,000 people have lost their lives so far due to the pandemic. And the Chile Congress on Thursday gave its final approval to a bill that allows the citizens to withdraw 10% of their pension savings to help ease the economic pain brought by the COVID-19 outbreak. The bill, which was overwhelmingly approved in a second vote in the Chamber of Deputies, now moves to President Sebastián Piñera for his final signature. The coronavirus pandemic has taken a toll on the various industries of the world, negatively impacting all the countries all over the globe. In Chile, the pension drawdown bill has widespread public support and it has been strongly opposed by Piñera's government. The swift passage of the bill and surprise cross-party support has pushed Piñera's ruling coalition to the brink of a collapse and brought warnings of major economic consequences. Chile continues its battle with COVID-19 with more than 3.38 lakh cases and over 8,000 deaths reported due to the virus. And China has ordered the US to close its consulate in the western city of Chengdu as a countermeasure to the closure of the Chinese consulate general in Houston. China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced on Friday the Chinese Foreign Ministry appealed to Washington to reverse its erroneous decision, quote-unquote. The US has an embassy in Beijing and consulates in 5 other mainland cities, that's Shanghai, Guangzhou, Chengdu, Shenyang and Wuhan. The Trump administration on Tuesday ordered the Houston consulate closed within 72 hours. The U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, in fact, had taken a fresh aim at China and said that the U.S. and its allies must use more creative and assertive ways to press the Chinese Communist Party to change its ways. In a major speech delivered after Washington's surprise order this week for China to close its Houston consulate, Mike Pompeo said that securing our freedom from the Chinese Communist Party is the mission of our time and that America was perfectly positioned to lead it. And getting in news now from back home and talking about the flood situation in Assam, which has worsened as 4 more lives have been lost due to floods in the last 24 hours, taking the death toll to 93. Over 28 lakh people have been affected due to floods in the state. And with continuous downpour, the river Brahmaputra in Jorhat, Sonitpur, Guwahati, Golpara, Dhubri districts is still flowing above the danger mark. Around 2,600 villages under 74 revenue circles in 26 districts, along with about 1.19 lakh hectares of cropland are submerged, as according to the Assam State Disaster Management Authority report on Thursday. At present, more than 47,000 inmates are taking shelter at 286 relief camps across the state. And in Bihar, the flood situation has also worsened in many districts, affecting more than 6 lakh population. The flood waters have spread to 282 panchayats of 55 blocks. However, the water level of most of the rivers has either stabilized or is decreasing. The road communication has been disrupted after the raging Ganda caused damage to approach road of Satarghat Mahasetu in Gopalganj district. However, the repair work there has started. Meanwhile, all the panchayats have submerged in Sonbarsa due to the breach of the embankment on Malangawa border adjoining Nepal due to pressure from the Lakhande and Jheem rivers. The Gandak and Kosi rivers are wreaking havoc in many districts, and wildlife has also been affected badly due to floods. 7 deer from the Valmiki Tiger Reserve in Bagaha have been rescued by the villagers and handed over to the Forest Department. The relief and rescue operations by the NDRF and the SDRF teams in the flood affected areas is underway. So, however, the water level of most of the rivers has either stabilized or is decreasing, and the relief and rescue operation is also continuing. And moving on now to some sports news. In fact, talking about cricket, it's showtime for England and West Indies as they get ready for the third and the final match of the Test series at the Old Trafford in Manchester. The 3-match series has so far been an enthralling encounter between the two sides, with both winning 1 game each. And with the series firmly locked at 1-1, the finale promises to be an edge of the set contest. West Indies began the series with a 4-wicket win against England in Southampton, with the visitors standing out with both ball and the willow. However, England fought back strong in the second test and equalized the series with a thumping 113-run win. England must decide whether to recall Jofra Archer for the decisive test after the fast bowler suffered online racist abuse. Archer is available after missing England's series levelling win at the same ground following a breach of the COVID-19 protocols. So now it all comes down to the third test. Caribbean team has not been unable to win a series in England for the last 32 years. And in some other news now, in fact related to the COVID infections which may have a severe impact on those having comorbid conditions, our correspondent Kiran Bhardwaj spoke with Dr. Uma Kumar about the precautions to be taken by the people suffering from rheumatological illnesses in regard to COVID-19.
Coronavirus can infect anyone, but those at the high-risk group are more prone to develop severity if they get infected. How does COVID-19 affect the people suffering from rheumatological illnesses? Let's find out from Dr. Uma Kumar. Dr. Uma, the people who are suffering from any kind of rheumatological illness, are they more prone to develop severity if they get infected from COVID-19?
Coronavirus infection is supposed to be more severe in individuals who have associated comorbidities like diabetes, hypertension, coronary artery disease, etc. But fortunately, in patients who have chronic rheumatological illnesses, coronavirus infection has not found to be severe. I mean, that is what the current data says. And we also know that the severity of infection or severity of coronavirus illness depends on the amount of inflammatory response a particular patient mounts against the virus. Possibly our drugs, anti-rheumatic drugs, they are helping these patients by not letting the body mount the severe inflammatory response against this virus. And as you know that many of these drugs are being tried in coronavirus infection.
What precautions?
All right, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the news. Thanks for being with us.